Over the past century, the city of O'Fallon has thrived. In fact, O'Fallon is the second largest city in the St. Louis metropolitan area. And there are hundreds of stories of heroic actions that have helped shape our city into what it is today. On this segment of O'Fallon Matters, we'll take you back to a time when O'Fallon was divided by the Civil War. Now, here's the story of a former slave named Archer Alexander and his heroics on a dark night back in 1863.
He was born in Virginia in December of 1816. He was a slave. He had been brought to Missouri early on, probably about 1829 is what we think, and he had been sold. He kept being sold because he was considered uppity. He apparently was very intelligent and really desired freedom. When he was sold, he was separated from the parents, the only parents that he knew.
Archer was eventually sold and became the property of David Pittman around 1855. Now, Archer married a slave named Louisa in the 1830s, but the couple lived separately on the farms of their owners. Now, here's where the story gets interesting.
In February of 1863 is when he really became an American hero, because the slave knew what his owner, a Confederate sympathizer, had taken part in. And there had been some citizens that had sawed through the timbers of a wooden trestle of a railroad bridge nearby, knowing that when the train came across that trestle, the bridge would collapse. At night, in darkness, Archer managed to run 5 miles away and warn some Germans, some Unions, soldiers, of what had taken place. And because of that, they were able to repair the trestle in time for the bridge to not collapse.
Later on, Archer informed troops that rebel sympathizers were concealing arms on the Campbell farm next to the Pittmans. Fearing for his safety, Archer escaped to St. Louis and was given refuge by William Elliott, a prominent Unionist and founder of Washington University.
He became aware of what Archer had done, but see, because of the fact that what they had done was a disloyal act and something that was against the Union government and could have endangered and killed people, what Archer had done, William Elliott knew was a good thing, and he required and he went after an order of protection. So Archer Alexander is living at the Elliott residence, and slave catchers had come to try to take him back. They beat him and they grabbed him and they threw him on the wagon and they took him to the St. Louis jail.
Once William Elliott found out what the slave catchers did to Archer, he rushed to the city jail to free him. In fact, the 2 slave catchers fled in disgrace because of their illegal deed. Eventually, Richard Pittman tried to establish his right to Archer Alexander through the civil courts, which prompted William Elliott to move Alexander to the safety of Alton, Illinois, where he worked as a farmhand. During this time, Archer witnessed the death of his son in the Union Army, and Louisa was still bound to slavery.
William Elliott knows that things are about to change for her, but Archer doesn't feel that she's safe and wants her free. So he has managed to arrange with a local person here, a German, to help her escape with a daughter. And then soon thereafter, 2 more daughters are able to escape and join her.
In 1876, Alexander's features were used by sculptor Thomas Ball in the Emancipation Memorial statue, preserving his place in history. The statue of Abraham Lincoln has stood in Washington, D.C.'s Lincoln Park ever since.
William Elliott sent a picture of Archer Alexander and his story to him. I do know that the first draft of that monument was to be a slave, and he was to be wearing a patriot cap and sort of like just praying relief. But it was after seeing Archer Alexander's portrait that the monument was changed, and it's a monument of the slave holding chains that have just been broken.
Recently, St. Charles County and the city of O'Fallon petitioned the U.S. Department of the Interior to rename Tributary B to Archer Alexander Creek.
Resolution 222, 2018C, a resolution calling upon the United States Department of the Interior to officially change the domestic geographic name of the creek in St. Charles County, Missouri, currently designated as Tributary B, to Archer Alexander Creek.
Thank you. Motion for approval.
Herwick.
Motion by Councilman Herrick, second. Second by Councilman Hinman. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Now, Tributary B runs through the city of O'Fallon, Cottleville, and Dardenne Prairie. The tributary runs through the land that Archer was bound to as a slave. What a fitting tribute to a man who saved the lives of Union soldiers by putting his own life on the line. And if you would like to read more about Archer's journey to freedom, you can pick up several books from your local library. Also, keep your eye out the next time you drive by Tributary B because it just may have a new name.